I'm going to show you how I roast my own coffee. This is green coffee from Sweet Maria's. Take a look. I use a corn popper, or sometimes I just use a pan, like an iron skillet. But I'll show you the method that I use that works really super well for me and makes me the best coffee that I've ever had. Stay tuned. When it's done roasting in the, let me put this down here. When it's done roasting in the corn popper, you know, with the handle, if you don't do it with exhaust fans on, the house is gonna, the smoke detectors won't know the difference between coffee roasting and a fire in your house. So please be careful with that. What's gonna happen is you will set off smoke alarms, because roasting coffee at home does not smell like a nice cup of coffee. It smells like the house is burning down. Keep that in mind. Now take a strainer, colander, whatever you call them in your country. I just call it a colander or a strainer. And I take it from here and I pour it in here. Now watch. Put this down. This is the finished product right here. Still very hot. Now I shake the hell out of it, and what's happening? Can you see this? What's happening is a lot of the hulls are coming off. Can you? I don't even know if you can see that, but I will shake this for about 15 minutes until that hull comes off. When it's done, I'll show you what I'll do next. But this is my job for about the next 15 minutes right here. And all this stuff is coming down. Can you see it flying down or no? It looks like it's snowing. That's going to be a nice, what I call a darker roast, a very hearty flavor for me. And when do I stop shaking it? I stop shaking it when it stops releasing that hull. About 10 minutes into it, it's still very extremely hot. It's very cold out today, so this will help the cooling process. Very, very hot to touch. Do not touch this. You can see what's happening here. It has that oily look on it. It's like a shinier bean. All right, I'm done shaking it now. Most of the hull has come off. Now it's still pretty warm to the touch. What I'm going to do is just let it cool, probably for, I don't want to feel any heat in it at all. So I'm going to let it cool for about 15 minutes outside. If it was summertime, it'd probably be probably an hour or more. So I'm just going to set it aside and get my other storage container ready for this when it cools, and then I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to speed up the cooling process by just transferring from one container to another. Also, I don't know, can you see that? The hull on there that has come off? You can see that. So what I'm going to do is just do this. And it's going through the cool air. and helps break up some of the hull that's left on the roasted bean. And even more of the hull is coming off. Let's see how that feels right now. Still just a little bit warm. Let it cool off a little bit and we'll come back and then we'll put it in the proper container. After transferring the beans from a couple different containers back and forth to cool them and get the hull off of them, I put them on a baking pan, a cookie sheet, and left them outside to increase the surface area. They are now cool to the touch. And what I want to do is put them in a big container like this, which will help me transfer them to a container where they're going to stay for 48 hours. So I won't be able to grind and enjoy these beans for 2 days. Always have to be careful or you end up with coffee beans all over the floor or on the back deck. I usually just use this method right here. This just works for me. Now, some people say, well, have you ever tried the pour over method? My response, whenever anyone asks me if I ever tried anything, my response is, how do you think you get to be 60 years old and not try anything in life? Have you ever tried this or tried that? Like in my pipe smoking videos. Have you ever put green leaf in, pot, marijuana, whatever, cannabis? Like, no, I only got to be 60. What is cannabis? I just heard of it. Many people keep mentioning this thing called cannabis. What is this cannabis you speak of? All right? Now, container that I keep beans in. This is why I put it in this first. Take a look at that. Magnifico, isn't it? Put the top airtight container, 48 hours. Hold on one second. So the bag that this came in, the green beans came in, I take this sticker off. So I know what type of coffee this is. I will just put it on here. Now this is a coffee that I've never tried before. This is called, let me get the glasses on, Kenya Nairi Ichamama. Ichamama. AB. Maybe you aficionados can translate that for me. Mild flavors, lemon, orange, unrefined cane sugars, fruited top notes, cranberry sauce with orange juice squeeze, and cinnamon stick accent. Citric acidity shimmers. That's how it's described. So this will be in here for 2 days. Stick it in the cabinet, and that'll be ready for me in a couple days. And I'm going to show you how I make my coffee in the morning, every morning that you see when you watch the Daybreak show. So stay tuned. Here we go with the method that I use every morning. First of all, these are beans that I ground or roasted myself. Ground, put them in a jar, what's left of them. I take my hand grinder that I've been talking about. There's going to be links for everything down below, so you don't have to guess. I take all the guessing work out. You don't have to waste any money buying crap that doesn't work, okay? The handle comes off, the top comes off. Usually I just take them off at the same time, like that. And I we'll fill this up halfway. This will make an entire, the ground coffee that comes out of this mill will make a liter of coffee in my French press. So I'm only going to fill this up about halfway. There we go. Put these beans back. Grind these bad boys up. And I use this grinder as opposed to the one that you plug in, the electric one that looks like a little mini blender. I can control the actual grind better on this. It's a ceramic burr hand grinder. Plus it's my exercise first thing in the morning. It only takes about a minute to grind everything up, as opposed to putting it in the electric blender and have it, you know, wake up the entire house and all the pets and everyone, and it's like, it's just noisy and loud and whatever. My French press, again, links for all this down below. Let me tap that real quick. I don't know if you can see this. Can you see that grind? See how that is? It's a rather rougher, coarser grind. The reason why I like a coarser grind is because the sediment doesn't come up through the screen of the French press. If you try using regular coffee from a can or espresso grind coffee or a finely ground coffee, you're going to get a very, very muddy coffee. So let's pop that in there. Boom, like that. That is the ceramic burr right there. And what it is, it's the coffee goes through these two pieces and grinds them up. I just like the manual coffee. Now, this has been sitting for a minute. It was boiling. It's now ready. You boil your water. Don't pour the boiling water right from the stove into your French press. What you need to do is let it wait. Water boils at 220 degrees. You want the water to be about 200 degrees. The effeminate baristas are going to weigh the water. They're going to weigh the coffee and tell you how many grams. To me, that is just like a total buzzkill and a huge cock block for enjoying coffee. If I got to sit there and measure everything out on a scale in the dark in the morning, then forget about it, okay? So I'm going to fill this up for about halfway. That goes back on the metal table. I can pull that off because this table is metal. Now I'm going to let that sit for about a minute. And what's going to happen is it's going to form a crust on the top, and then I'm going to stir it, and everything's going to be swirling all around like a turd in a toilet. And then when I stop stirring it, all the grounds are going to settle to the bottom, and then we're going to be ready to literally push this plunger screen down and enjoy the coffee. So hold on one second. We'll wait for that to happen. It's been about a minute. Now I'm going to just stir it, break up the crust on the top. And I guess in the coffee industry, they call that the bloom or whatever you want to call it. Put that back on and let it sit for a few more minutes. The longer you let it sit, the stronger the coffee's going to be. It's going to draw the flavors out and the caffeine out of the bean more. I let it sit, and of course the alarm goes off. I let it sit anywhere between 5 and 9 minutes. The effeminate baristas will tell you that it should be no more than 4 minutes. Try it at 4 or 5 minutes, then try it at 7 or 8, or try it at 9. Do what works for you, whatever flavor profile works for you, how strong you want, strength profile, I should say. It's been about 5 minutes. I'm going to push the screen down Let me just show you real quick. All it is a screen, and the coffee comes up through the screen while keeping the grounds down. I don't want to stir it again because I don't want to upset the sediment that sank to the bottom. There is a vented area where the coffee pours out of. Make sure that's lined up with the spout of the French press. Let's press it down. I don't push it all the way down to the bottom right before it gets to the bottom. Perfect. Put it in the, one of subscribers, one of you guys made me a coffee mug for the Daybreak show, and on the other side it says, "Make coffee hot again." Yes, hot coffee. What a concept, right? Oh, before I pour that, take my cream, which I heated up in a pan, pour that in here. Now the coffee. Hit it with the vortex method. And get ready. You roast your own coffee, you grind your own coffee, you brew your own coffee in a French press. Nothing like it. That, my friends, is how I make coffee every single day. That is why I make such a big deal out of it, just for what you just experienced. Right there. It makes it all worth it. There is no percolator, no drip, no other method, no little pod. There is nothing that can make a cup of coffee like this right here. Sorry. Magnificent. The links for everything are going to be down below. The Unstuck Coffee Mug, to give you a reminder that 2019 is the year that you get unstuck. The coffee grinder hand mill, this exact one, link down below. The French press that I love, link down below. And then also, if I can find a link to the green beans, my favorite ones, I'll put that down below as well. Hope you enjoyed that. Try it. Take a little risk, do something different. Enjoy the art, what I would call the manly art of coffee roasting on your own. You'll feel like you accomplished something. And when you work for something, you appreciate it that much more.